I think they've oversold the dream. You know what I mean, the dream house, the dream car, the dream job. We have been programmed that everything has to be our dream. We have to have that big, beautiful, expensive house, the one with all the amenities, the car, the one that's going to make people notice you, and the job, that dream job with corner office and the big promotions and that one that makes you look and feel important. Everything's supposed to be your dream, the biggest and the best. We have been programmed to overextend ourselves to the point where our jobs become life sentences. Our cars and our homes and everything in them have us so tied to our jobs that we can't change jobs. We can't quit our jobs. We are held prisoner because we've got to be able to make that mortgage payment. People have given up everything in their lives. They've sacrificed everything to have what they've been told is the dream. I see young people in particular overextending themselves to where both partners have to work. It takes two incomes to buy these little mansions, to the point where they are so stressed and there is such a demand put on them that they can't even enjoy watching their children grow. And in return, children are expected to perform at unimaginable levels so that they can go out and achieve the dream. You know, I remember starting out as a young adult, and the dream was just to get a house, just to be able to afford a house. It didn't have to be a fancy house, you know, just a house. One that was clean, one that was safe, one that you could afford. And now it seems like it's just flipped. Now it's like you find the house and then you have to go out and you have to get the job to support the house. Is it just me? Does anybody else see this happening? I look around and every day I hear people saying, but you can't afford a house. You can't afford to buy a house. Yes, you can. You just have to kind of find the house that you might not want. You have to find a starting place. You can't start with a mansion. You can't start with what your parents worked a lifetime to achieve. And even people my age, I see them going out and they're close to retirement, and they're going out and they're buying retirement homes, or they're upgrading their home to these McMansions, or even if they downsize, they're buying in areas that are extremely expensive. And okay, some people who have planned and have managed their money well, okay, maybe they can go out and afford to buy these places debt-free. Most people are not. Most people are taking out mortgages that they will never be able to pay off before they retire. I know people today who are retired and they are still paying a mortgage. How do you do that? And how do you justify doing it? And when is enough enough? I don't understand, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe I'm the one that doesn't know what they're talking about. But I don't understand this burning desire to make everything your dream. It's got to be the biggest and the best. And how many people do you see go out and buy their dream home? Then they do an update and suddenly they do a confessional where they can't afford what they have. Or people in real life, they buy these homes, these dream homes, and then a few months to 5 years later, they just feel trapped because they have this big home and they are so trapped that they have no freedom in their life. Not only did they commit to this large mortgage, but many times they commit to keeping a job that they are miserable in just to pay the mortgage, just to pay the car payment. My dream home is a clean, safe home that has no mortgage. I live a debt-free life. I don't have a mortgage payment and I don't have a car payment. And I hope to God that I never have to take them out again. I've had the mortgage payment, though not a huge one. I've never bought homes that I couldn't afford. And I've never wanted to sacrifice my life, my sanity, and my peace for a home. And so I don't really understand why this has been pushed on so many people and why so many people have been willing to accept this. And when is enough? When do you feel like you have enough? And what do you do when you find yourself in that situation? I mean, when you are burdened by what you have to the point that life is miserable, that you're afraid you can't take care of your family, then what do you do? And when is it okay to quit striving for the dream? When is it okay to say, enough is enough and I'm not going to do it anymore? I think there are people out there now that are kind of getting to that point. And I think a lot of people in my age group have figured this out, but others have not. They're still trying to climb to get more. And how do you get out of it once you're there? There's some people that just, something snaps one day and they just sell it all and start over again. But I know even when I started over at almost 60 years old, I had no desire to ever have a mortgage, to ever have a car loan, to ever owe anybody anything. Because you know what? When you're debt-free, you have freedom. You have the freedom to work as long or as short of a time as you want. I know that I could quit my job today and I could survive. Not because I'm going to be getting a lot on Social Security, not because I have millions put back in savings, but because I've worked enough to get enough Social Security to survive, not to live high on the hog, not to spend my retirement years traveling, but to survive. And I know I have skills that I have implemented in my past that I can re-implement to make money if I need to. But most importantly, I know I have the skills that will help me live on very little money. And if push came to shove, I know how to live without electricity. And that's my biggest bill, is my electrical bill. But I know without a mortgage, without a car payment, without owing anybody any money, you can live on so much less. And it breaks my heart to see people who have reached my age and they become dependent on their children, or they continue to work into their 70s and 80s. And if you want to work, that's fine. I haven't decided for sure when I'm going to quit working, when I'm never going to want to go out and work. But I do know I'm getting closer to the point of wanting to retire, to just wanting all my time to do with it I want to do with it. But how much of our lives should we sacrifice to get those dreams? And most of the time, they're not dreams we came up with. They are dreams that other people have told us are our dreams. And then we feel like we have to follow suit. And I don't know. I mean, I know what's good for me. What's good for me is my peace of mind. What's good for me is my security, knowing that I can look out at my 3 acres and know that it's mine, that some bank somewhere can't come and take it from me. I know that I want the peace and the security of knowing I have a house. I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to live in my vehicle. And while tiny houses can be cool, it's not what I want for me. Anybody else that wants to live in one, that's great. But I have a lot of things I like to do. I need space to do those things. And I want a place where my children and my grandchildren can come and visit me. I don't want to, while I love to travel, I don't want to be on the road all the time. I don't want to be dependent on a vehicle, whether or not I have a place to live. Like I said, if that's the life you choose and the life you want, then more power to you. I think more than anything, it's not where we're living, but are we living the way we want to live? Are we living a life that suits us? And to me, I think so many times people are so busy chasing the dream that they're not even sure what their dream is. They're not even sure what they want. And you know what? You're never going to have the biggest and the best, because there's always going to be something bigger or better that comes along. So if that happens to you, just abandon your dream. I mean, I'm not saying don't look for a house or a car or a job that has the amenities that you want. But how much do you really need? And how much are you really able to sacrifice for it and still be happy? I know what my threshold is. And you have to decide on your own threshold, but I know I don't want to work the rest of my life. And I know there's a lot of things I can do to make money outside of a 9-to-5 job. And I know I'll do those until those are not satisfying to me anymore, until I want to be free of that responsibility. But you tell me, what have we done? What have we done in accepting the parameters that other people have put out there for us to follow? Am I the crazy one? I probably am. But I enjoy living in my moment of craziness. How does everybody else feel about this? I know I think much differently than probably the majority of people out there. And I know that a lot of people think chasing that dream is the acceptable way to live your life. But I wonder how many people really think about what they've sacrificed for it. And I wonder how many have decided to start living their life on their terms instead of what we have been marketed to believe. I think there is a lot involved around marketing and brainwashing that has created this consumerism that we're looking at today. And how many out there would be much happier with a simpler life? I know I am, and I know I don't like owing anybody anything. What do you think? Do you think the dream has been oversold? Has the dream now become a burden instead of a dream? I understand wanting to own your own property because I've never rented. I've always owned my own property. But I never felt that I needed to sell my soul to own a piece of property. I've always been willing to settle for something that was not necessarily the dream in order to achieve my dream. And my dream is to never have to be in debt. My dream is to be able to live as independently as I possibly can. My dream is to have peace of mind and tranquility. And I wish that for everyone, no matter what path they decide to walk in life. I feel like everybody should have the right to peace and tranquility and to be free of burdens. And I think when we overextend ourselves, we're never going to make it. Not to that, not to peace, not to tranquility, and not to being lacking of the burdens that's put on us when we try to have more than what we can afford. Just my thoughts today as I'm waiting for the weather to warm up a little bit so I can get some more outside work done. But I just kind of wanted to touch base and see, is there anybody out there in my tribe that thinks like me? Or am I on my own in this? I don't know. I may find my tribe here and I may not. And maybe I am the one that's crazy. I don't know. Let me know what you think. You have a great day. We'll talk soon.